Hello everyone, my name is Filishiya Sequeira and I'll be talking about an web application attack which is CSRF, also known as Cross-Site Request Forgery. These are the contents which I'll be discussing throughout the presentation. So what is CSRF? Cross-site request forgery is an attack that forces an end user to execute unwanted actions on a web application in which they are currently authenticated. To simply put it, it is an attack where an attacker tricks the user into performing unintended actions on a trusted website, and that is also when they are logged in. And if a victim is a normal user, so successful CSRF attacks can force the user to perform state changing requests such as like transferring funds, changing their emails or passwords or so forth. So how CSRF attack works? To CSRF to be possible, three conditions must be in place. So the first condition would be a relevant action. There must be a sensitive action to exploit, like actions could be changing the password or making the transaction. So a relevant action can be a key condition for an CSRF attack to take place. So the second would be cookie based session handling. The website must rely on cookies for session tracking and not ask for extra verifications like tokens or captchas. So based on the cookie based tracking, we can point it, like with the help of that we can make a CSRF work. So the third would be no unpredictable request parameters. The request must not include anything dynamic like CSRF tokens or a secret that attacker can't guess. So with that help of that and with these three conditions meeting, we can tell that a CSRF attack is possible. In this picture, the victim will log into his bank account and the bank website assigns an victim and validation code. So after that, what does hacker do is hacker will send a forged request disguised as a legitimate communication from the bank, and the victim unknowingly forwards that request to the bank. So the forged request is executed by the bank using previously assigned validation token. So victim will log into his account and the bank will assign a validation token. So because the victim will give his credential and login, so bank will assign a validation token. So what does hacker do? He will send a forged request by adding his script or whatever and disguise himself as a bank website. So after that victim will forward that request because victim is unaware that hacker has forged that request and it is not from the bank. So after forwarding the request to the bank, so bank will execute that request because the validation token has been given and the bank thinks that the forward has been made from the victim. So this is how an CSRF works. So for example, bank transfer via hidden post. So the attacker crafts an HTML form that performs a sensitive action such as like transferring money using a post request. So the form is hidden from the victim's view. So when the victim visits the attacker's site while logged in to the bank account, the form is automatically submitted. So which causes the transfer to be made. Next would be CSRF using the auto submitting form. So this is similar to the first method but used for various actions like changing password or email or any other preferences whatever they want. The key is that form will automatically submit once the page is loaded. It works when the website doesn't require CSRF tokens or any extra verification for that to work. Next, third is get request via image tag. So an attacker embeds an image tag where the image source is a URL to perform an action. So when the victim loads the page, the request executes with their session cookies. And the last one would be JavaScript in malicious site triggering a request if not protected properly. So, if a target website doesn't implement CSRF tokens or any other verification headers, it doesn't check the headers properly. JavaScript from a malicious site can trigger XML HTTP request or manipulate iframes to simulate user actions. And some JavaScript may also try to click buttons or interact with DOM elements via the scripts. You can visit the payload all the things GitHub repository, where you can go for cross-site request forgery. So it has everything what you want, a methodology or a pathway how to perform a CSRF, how to find a CSRF attack. Uh, if the website is CSRF attack vulnerable, there is a step-by-step procedure how to go to that end. There are some scripts also for get request, post request. You can use that as well. And there are few labs or references which you can refer if you want to do. Then next we'll go with the testing methodology. So testing methodology, how we can do is we can make two accounts to simulate one as a victim and other as an attacker. So sign in to the attacker account and generate a malicious link, which is CSRF POC, and send the POC or the link to the victim. So the victim has been already logged in and he has gotten a validation token. So he will sign in and that victim, and he will open the link. So if successful, that is the POC whatever the attacker has sent, if that is successful, that will lead to data changes, or we can tell that as the web application may be vulnerable to CSRF attack. For the practical demonstration, we'll take the Portswigger lab. Here, CSRF vulnerability with no defenses. So, the lab's email change functionality is vulnerable to CSRF. To solve this lab, we have to craft an HTML that uses a CSRF attack. Mainly, we are supposed to create a CSRF POC, which will change the viewer's email address, and we can upload that to the exploit server. We can log into our own account using the winner and Peter credentials. So, how it works, we'll see. We'll access the lab. Now, we'll log into our account using the given credentials, which was winner Peter. Login. As you can see, they have given our username and our email, which is here. We can change into any email we want. For example, here hacker@gmail.com. So we'll update this. So our email will get updated to this, and it's not asking for any previous email or verification. So what now we'll do is we'll on a burp suit, and we'll give email change for something as tester at google.com. Enter. And it's been updated. So we'll go to a burp suit, here proxy and HTTP history. As you can see here, the post request, the tester, whatever we changed into is here. So now we'll send this to the burp repeater. Send this to the repeater. Here we'll craft an CS using this engagement tools CSRF POC. It's basically a proof of concept or a script which does the CSRF attacks. And here in options we'll tick the include auto submit script. So what it does is we don't have to the victim doesn't have to click and submit request or those things, tick a box or something. It will automatically submit the script and regenerate, and we'll copy this HTML and we'll go to the website and we'll go to the exploit server. Here in the body section, we'll paste our script and we'll store and we'll see. Okay, now here what we'll do, we'll change our email tester into attack. So store view exploit. As you can see, the email has been updated to attack@google.com. So go to exploit server again. Now we'll change our email address to hotspot at whatever. So now we'll store this and now we'll deliver exploit to the victim. So the lab is successfully done. So what we did is, basically, if you have a request being sent to an application which changes something, in our case it was email address, so you will always have to be careful that you have some sort of extra secret, so such as like CSRF tokens or same site flag for the session cookies, so which are sent within HTTP request, that allows us to change our information, for us here email address, or it could also be something like a bank transfer where we want to transfer our money or such things. So if you don't have those extra secrets, an attacker can craft a form. Here we crafted an HTML script, which is what we did, which it contains all the informations, which is here we sent an email, and attacker can host that on his malicious server, and next thing would be to trick the victim to send or visit attacker's website first, and with that information sending that from his own browser, means this attacker will trick the user into coming into his server, and it will show him as a legitimate user or it is from their bank, as we have seen in the previous picture, and it will trick the victim into clicking that, and it will send the request as from the victim. It uses the session cookies which victim has developed. So, and if it's successful, the CSRF attacks takes place. The impacts of the CSRF attack could be unauthorized actions, which as like changing account details, submitting a form, or deleting the data. Compromised user data, so changing the user email or password and submitting fake data under user profile. Financial loss, then privilege escalation, so like a lower privileged user is tricked into sending CSRF request, and that promotes another user to admin. The attacker can then take over the system. Then service disruption, forced logouts or the crashes, and reputation damage, the company damage or the reputation for the company. Next, the mitigation measures. So CSRF tokens. So we have to make use of CSRF tokens, and next would be usage of the same site attribute for cookies to prevent them from being sent with the cross-site request. Next, check, validate, refer, or origin headers of incoming requests to ensure that they originate from trusted domains. Next, to enable the multi-factor authentication, and next, use built-in CSRF protection mechanisms provided by the web frameworks. Thank you.